Hey everybody, good evening. How are you? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hey Niche Goddess, how are you? Happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Our topic tonight is keeping other people's secrets. How long do we keep them? And I thought, what better place for me to go live than in my closet where it's a mess? Because when we hold on to stuff that does not belong to us, this is what our mind and our lives begin to look like. So I figured I would bring you guys in my closet. So anyway, good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining. So I came up with this topic earlier this year. I am originally from California and I live in Texas. And I had gone home to California to visit. And as I was traveling home, I just thought, in our families, in our lives, people share stuff, we go through stuff, we hold on to stuff, but how long do we keep other people's secrets? So, and that even includes ours. How long do we hold on to stuff that we need to let go because it's weighing us down, or it's something that plays a triple loop in our mind regularly? How do we let go? What do we do? So that is our conversation tonight. Hey, Mr. Palmer, thanks for joining. Request to come up. So I figure what better place to show than my closet. I need to clean it out anyway. I figured I'd bring you guys in it just to give you a visual of what our minds look like when we hold on to other people's stuff and secrets and all that good stuff. So thank you for joining. Hey, Mr. Palmer. So I started cleaning it up a little bit. I had not gotten that far. Um, I was looking for something, looking for a shoe to be exact. And so I pulled everything off the shelf looking for one shoe. So, sometimes our brains are cluttered because we're holding on to stuff that don't belong to us. And it kind of looks like this closet. And so, how long do we hold on to other people's secrets? And when do we let them go to free ourselves and free up space so that we can do other things? Hey, Julian.
Good evening, good evening. How we doing this evening?
Can I hold on? Let me turn up the volume. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Just this. All right. Sorry about that. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So, our topic tonight, sir, is holding on to other people's secrets, including our own, and when and where do we let them go? And how do we let them go? So, I know we had a conversation about this earlier, and you had a very interesting viewpoint on it. And I'd love to hear your thoughts.
For me, holding on to secrets has no time limit. Once something like that is handed off to you, you literally take it to the grave.
What if it's a heavy secret?
Most of the most important ones are.
Okay. So you just keep it. How does it impact your life? What does it do?
Actually, usually when people give you secrets, they're giving you a power. And that's a real big deal. Because
Okay.
you don't give your secrets to just anyone.
Okay. And what if somebody comes to you with something and you really don't want to hold it and they just dump on you? How do you handle that? Because I know sometimes that happens. People will come and you're not expecting it and they don't ask you if you're okay, if you want it or what. They'll just tell you and then you're stuck with it. How do you handle that situation?
For me, I look at it as God must have chosen me to be the person to help them bear the burdens. Usually, with secrets like that, it's been a burden that the person has been carrying for quite a while.
Okay.
Not to say that I'm some type of superhero, but I thank God that He sent me to that person to help them hold on to whatever it is. Sometimes people need to download some stuff.
Okay. But what do you do if the download is too heavy for you? How do you release it? What do you do? Because I know that happens.
I mean, I think that's one of the big ones for me. I have a lot of secrets from a lot of different people that I'm able to carry. For one, I was never emotionally tied to them.
Okay.
So the secrets are just that.
What about the ones that you're emotionally tied to? How do you handle that? Thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate you.
The ones that I'm emotionally tied to, I mean, I think I'm able to carry without burning myself out. Maybe my own personal superpower, but
Now, is that a male thing because you compartmentalize? Do you think that that is part of the male superpower, maybe, should I say?
could be a me thing. I've
Okay.
saw a lot of things in my life that I honestly see a cold truth in, and so carrying problems has never been a problem for me because I kind of see things through a more realistic view, I believe.
Okay. So, for those who have joined late, I decided since we were talking about secrets, I thought I would come live from my closet because I needed to clean it out. And the reason I think that my closet is a great place because it's a mess. And a lot of times when we hold on to other people's secrets, including our own, this is what our mind and our mental state looks like. So just wanted to get the conversation started and talk about it a little bit. So we are now talking about holding on to other people's secrets, ones that are heavy. And what do we do with them? How do we compartmentalize them so that they don't take over our lives? Because some things we don't ask for and they just happen and we end up carrying them. And how long do we carry them? And at what point do we relieve ourselves of them? If it's journaling, if it's just having a confession or a conversation with ourselves that this is not mine to hold and I can let it go. When do we do that and at what point? So Julian, back to you, sir. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And please tap the screen if you've joined. Show us that you are enjoying the content that we're bringing. Send hearts. We appreciate you. I'm not calling you out by name, it's because I can't see you, but I appreciate you joining. So, the reason I came up with this topic when I went home back in February, the thought came to me, how long do you hold on to other people's secrets? We have family secrets that we know about. One family was that my aunt carried for years was the adoption of my sister. And she had to carry that for many, many years. And it impacted her life in a number of ways and a bunch of other people's lives. And so we hold on to people's secrets when they're really not ours to carry, but we do it out of loyalty and being faithful and whatever else comes along with that. And sometimes it's detrimental to us and our well being. So, at what point do we let it go? And how do we let it go?
Now, I would love to hear your point of view, lady.
So you know, I I had a very interesting conversation with someone that has carried a heavy weight for a long, long time, and the weight had to do with somebody being murdered and then being blamed for murder. And after we talked about the story and what really happened, they in no way were involved, right? But they've been carrying the weight and the guilt of somehow being, and not them committing a murder, but their involvement somehow having something to do with it. Um, and because they wanted to honor the person who was deceased, they don't want to taint their name. They never told the truth, and it's been 30 something years, and they're still carrying the weight of it. And I feel like it's impacted their lives. And I just think, at what point do we let other people's secrets go and own our own, right? And say, that's not true. That's not what happened. Um, and I'm using that as an example, but I just think that there comes a time in life where we have to let the weight of what other people have done go. If it is, you know, somebody who mistreated us as a child in our family, and we showed up and we smiled like everything was okay for years, even when it wasn't okay. At what point do we say, okay, I'm not carrying this anymore, I'm gonna let it go? So, hey, Andrea, how are you?
I'm great. So I have a question. Excellent topic. Here is my question. Why would you tell the secret? Who would you tell it to?
I'm not saying tell it. I'm saying, how do you release it and how long do you hold it?
I say this, and this is just my opinion and my own personal thought. That's it. That is that person's secret. So you just hold it because they entrusted you as a confidant. It's just that you just hold it. Now, if you feel like it becomes a burden for you,
But sometimes
then
it's not always them telling you. So it's a couple of different layers. So the telling, I get it. Go ahead, Andrea. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump in, but I just wanted
no,
to
go ahead. Go
clarify.
ahead. Go ahead with what you, because that was important. So I mean, if the person, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. So you can finish your thought and then I'll finish mine.
So it's not always if somebody, so let's say I come to you and we're just talking, and I come and I just dump on you, Andrea. I I just say, Andrea, this happened to me. My father was like this, and you weren't expecting all, and it just was heavy on you. It's not something you've ever dealt with. It's not something you've experienced. And I didn't ask you if it was okay for me to share it with you. I just dumped it on you. So that's one example. The other example is holding secrets for our families for the sake of making sure everybody else is okay when it is affecting us mentally, physically, emotionally. How long do we carry those weights? And at what point do we let them go?
Okay, so there were two scenarios.
Mhm.
In the very first scenario, if someone is giving you that information, this is what you do. You listen, you try to have empathy, even if you don't understand, and just be supportive because that person needed a listening ear. Now, this is where you go outside of that person and you also have your own resources and you have your own friends, you have your own community, you have your own, we're going back to those safe spaces to where that you can talk.
Okay.
And every that and it is not that that secret needs to be to everybody that's your safe space. It could be one person. It could be a family member. It could be a therapist. It could be your journal. It could be, just you looking at yourself saying, "Hey, that was heavy. Wow. Now let me do a mental check with myself. And then let me do a mental check in with my family to let them know that I'm okay. And this is why I'm checking in with them. There are other ways that things can be handled. So you have to know how do you how do you accept information? Like you said, that first scenario, things is dumped on you, and what do you need to do? Mine could be going go-kart riding. Mine could be going walking. Mine could even be a simple prayer for that person. It's simple. Sometimes we make it too hard and it doesn't have to be. Now,
Sorry, I think we're losing you, Andrea. Wait until you get to a place where it's not breaking up. Can you hear me still? It's breaking up. We'll wait. I'm still breaking up. Still breaking up.
What about now?
Yes, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay. We can hear you
All right.
now.
Second scenario, where it's a
Oh.
family thing, then we're going to deal with this as a family. We're going to come together, even if we have to mediate outside
You're breaking up again. You're breaking up again.
situation. Let's
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. We can't hear you. We want to hear you. Andrea?
Hello?
I'm here.
Okay, Jules. We got, okay. We heard
I'm
the
here.
family. You said it's a family. Okay, if it's a family, then we're going to sit down. We're going to get together. We're going to talk about it.
All right. Yes, we're going to work through this as a family. And we actually have to sit down. That's funny. I've just turned on my Wi-Fi button.
Okay, go ahead.
So as a family, then we're going to come together, and it could be someone that's be like Flash, human resources. That can be human resources and says, hey, we need to come together as a family. Now we have to seek an outside source that is unbiased, that can give us their opinion. It could be a mediator. It could be a therapist. It could be a family friend that absolutely knows nothing about it, but at least has some wisdom. And I'm going to be honest, I would actually, because of my faith, I would get a spiritual advisor. I would get in whatever religion you believe in. It is whatever. I'm a Christian. So therefore, I would want a spiritual advisor. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a pastor. My family, we've gone through spiritual counseling with someone. She was a therapist, but she was also a Christian. And we had to, because as a family, we needed that support. We needed some biblical base that would help my family deal with my mother's death, excuse me. That would help us to work through it as a family. And so even family secrets like that, there are at times when you have to come together as a family and decide enough is enough. Somebody has to be bold enough to just say enough is enough. It's tearing us apart. We can't live the rest of our lives like that. Yesterday I went to revival with my sister, and the title of the sermon was "The Struggle Was Real." The struggle is real, but look how blessed our family is. Are we going to continue to let this tear us apart? Or are we going to come together and finally say, we got little ones that are watching us? Our elders still may be here, and they need to see us come together, because guess what? We are going through life and we can't navigate this by ourselves. We got to do this. We come together and we're going to do better as a family, because guess what? Our elders did it, and we need to do the same. And sometimes now, if it's so hard, and some people have boundaries, and it's okay, that's how they feel, but that ain't gonna stop us. If one person messes up a bunch, then the whole bunch was messed up to begin with. But if everybody else comes together and the one person doesn't, that's that person at this point. And you can't control what they do, but y'all can control what y'all do. That's what I hate to. Sometimes our black families, we don't come together enough, and we tear each other down, talk about each other, and then let other people talk about us. We got to come together, and when we don't, at the end of the day, it may be blood, in-laws, whatever. Are we gonna do this as a family or not? And you got to keep it simple. And once everybody decides, or when not even everybody, once the majority says, you know what, we're gonna do this
Then the
and we're gonna
majority
come together,
rules.
then that's what you do. And if the one person doesn't, then I can't apologize for that one person, but that's on that one person. And that's their burden. It's no longer ours, because guess what? We've come together and we've said, you know what? It's no longer a secret. We know we gonna take care of it. We're gonna take care of each other. We're gonna take care of our little ones that seeing us, because we want them to raise their kids, our generations to come. We got a legacy to continue. So why give up on that? Especially when I mean, everybody has secrets. Every family, Lord have mercy, every family. But look at your blessings and focus on that, girl. Cause it's just look, and that's the country part. Because we all have family secrets. But guess what? At the end of the day, we come together as a family. And we look at our blessings and look at our growth and who we are raising and what we're gonna put in them. Because we want them to be better people.
I agree. I completely agree. Completely agree.
Look, Elle, you know you got about 38 minutes because I'm gonna be sleeping.
I know. Wait, I only have 8 with you because I know 9:30 is your cutoff. So I'm like, I know you
Wait,
have to get up
wait,
early
Elle, I
to
did
go and take
good
care of them
until
babies. You did very
wait.
well last week. You played the whole time, and then at some point I called you. I said she gone. She told me 9:30 is the cutoff. So hey, I completely understand, and I appreciate you joining because I know it's late and everybody has to get ready for tomorrow, and so I appreciate you guys for joining. And my closet is a mess. It was just for me to show everybody as I was preparing tonight. I was like, I need to clean out my closet, and then I thought I'm gonna go live from my closet because when we hold on to stuff, our lives and our minds look like this. And so, how long do we hold on before we let go so that we
Yeah,
can
that's
be
good.
lighter? So, um,
You know, TD Jakes did he did a trunk packing. This was it was several years back. I know I had to be in my 30s. Ooh, so that was a long time ago. So he did a trunk packing, and he says, and he packed his trunk full of stuff. And he said, what that the big one he had, get ready, get it ready, get it ready. Oh, that was wrong song. But it reminded me of a song. Okay, but it was basically his sermons was letting go and unpacking those things that you need to unpack. And I'm gonna tell you a small blessing. I got rid of 2 things in my garage today. So you just got to do a little bit at a time. It's just baby steps. Keep
it
it
is,
simple, little steps.
and it is getting rid of stuff that no longer serves you. The stories that we
Yes.
still tell ourselves about the secret and the pain that we hold around us. At some point, we have to repaint that picture for ourselves so that it is no longer injuring us or wounding our hearts. We have to let it go. So, how long do we hold on to other people's secrets?
In relation to your topic, one thing I've always wondered, things such as paternity. That one's always been interesting to me, where people who sometimes 20 years you're dealing with an adult who may have grown up with a nice life, and the person who actually committed the offense chooses to give the truth. I consider that completely selfish, honestly and truly. As I watch some of the stories that develops on different media platforms or even television, For someone to come forth, even though they've known for a long time, the idea of telling a father that a child is not his when him and the child are both connected and the child is now an adult. I honestly think that if you created that problem and that secret, it's selfish of you because the only reason you're releasing it is so you feel better. In turn, you're destroying two people's lives. I've always considered that the most selfish thing I've ever seen in my life. You created this problem. You get to bear it.
Yes.
Always been my view on that one. I find it absolutely deplorable because now, as you state, your secret becomes too big for you, even though it's not affecting those that honestly have had a good life. But to make yourself feel better, you feel like you need to destroy their happiness. I consider that the most selfish thing on earth.
That is not a fair play. That is somebody, like you said, that's looking out for themselves and they don't care about how it will impact the lives of others. And yeah, but do you think if the mother had told a long time ago, they wouldn't have gotten there? If she hadn't been holding that secret?
Perhaps, but that ship has sailed. One thing about time is it keeps moving forward.
It
Right.
absolutely does. You're right.
Okay, you know I watched Paternity Court, right?
We know.
I'm telling you. Okay, y'all, it be people on there 46, 43, 46. You know, I just want to know if he my daddy. And it breaks my heart to see them that old and not know. And their mom have passed. Like some of the women, their mom or their dads may have passed. Now, some of the ones, like you said, I do agree with you. The ones that are old and in their 70s and they 60s and they did they dirt and then they kept it in, secret. And them mama, those parents were wrong. They didn't want to admit. And then some of them get on there and say, I was ashamed, I was this, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, that paternity court. I don't know if it's real, if it's acted out, but Judge Lake is awesome. Okay, so, but the ones that are truly older and want to know, this has affected me all of my childhood, and that secret that the mom did take to their grave, that was to death. So as a child that then they're lost, like how can you say, well, that person was selfish when they really just protected their child? And then now that the child is older, because they feel that void in their life, and now they want to know. They question their paternity overall, and they want to know because of a void. I mean, spiritually, you feel that void.
You do.
And so, you know, I I can't say that that person, that whether it's the mom or the dad, was selfish in protecting their child. It's two views of it. So
It is. There are multiple views on it, and I went
yeah,
over this with a family member where we were looking. We did not know who
yeah,
her biological father was, and we didn't know for years, and we still don't know. And we're in our 50s now, and we will never know. But whatever the reason was, you know, we don't know. We still don't. We don't know. But she's like, okay, she's learned to be okay with it.
yeah,
So, I mean, but that's a secret that for years it bothered her because she was like, I want to know where I came from, what kind of health challenges I may have, what I need to look out for based on, my background. And there's no way to find out. So,
yeah. And that's tough. And that's really, really, really and truly tough. I would say definitely, like, this would be my advice for her. Definitely anything that she can get from her doctor. Look, what test will my insurance pay for?
right.
Because of the things I don't know. And a lot of times we deal with that. And then, like, my family, we did a cancer walk, and like, a lot of my cousins have breast cancer, and my mom had cancer, when she passed. However, we didn't have to get the genetic testing. My sister was tested genetically, and then I asked my doctor, did I need to be? And they were like, well, no, because my mom didn't have it. However, even going with the long history of family members having it and a generation before me having it, then they still said no. But we as a family is like, these are the times where, like, we just decided in May for all of our cousins, like, we'll get together, and these things, like you're saying, come, what things do run in our family, how can we manage them better, how can we eat better, how can we do better, how can we help each other, what. And we started learning, like, some of my little cousins do nails, do hair, do this, do that, what good things are you guys doing, so that we can help and support, and it is, of course, it will always be the toughest time of getting everybody together. But if we have one set time where we can at least come together just for a minute to talk about these things that, like you said, have plagued us, then you now, instead of, that person being okay by herself, your cousin can be okay with y'all. She has a support system.
And she does.
So
And she always
yeah,
has, but you still wonder, it's still
of
in the
course.
back of your mind. You want to know, okay, why is this secret being held? What happened that was so horrible, right? And
Right.
at what point, are you going to ever say anything? Are you going? I shared the story, and I feel okay sharing it here because the lady who I talked to about it told me she was going to write a book, but she never knew who her father was, and she is now in her 70s. And she said as her mother was passing, she decided to tell her who her father was, and it was her uncle. And her mother never said anything because of the embarrassment and the shame and everything that came along with that. But she said her mother always treated her different. She couldn't understand why. And as her mother was transcending, she finally told her. And so, can you imagine the heaviness of that on her mother for all those years?
No, I couldn't imagine. I really can't.
So those are the kind of secrets that I
Yeah.
I want people to know, that it is okay to let it go, to forgive whoever, yourself, the part, whatever, let it go. It's not yours to carry. It's a heavy weight. It's a weighty bucket. It's like carrying a bucket of water on your head. You need to let it go. And it is okay to let it go. Yep. So,
I'm gonna say facts. I agree.
yeah, yeah, that is the goal. Ultimately, is not carrying things that we don't need to, things that are too heavy for us to hold on to, and even other people's secrets. It can be, carrying a weight of knowing that somebody close to you is having an affair, and you know that it is tearing their house apart, and you know this secret, and you see the other person crying and mourning, and you feel like, what do I do? How do I navigate this situation? I mean, there's so many different situations that arise where you're loyal to, the person, may be a relative or whatever, and you're like, can't say nothing because I'm close to them, but I see the devastation that it's causing over here. It's weighty stuff like that. How do we navigate? How do we maneuver? What do we do? So,
I mean, when it comes to other people's secrets, I've always put myself in the place of I have no right to speak on them whatsoever.
okay.
I fail to see how me, I guess, clearing my soul helps them or their situation.
Well, not necessarily clearing your soul, and I'm not saying going to tell them, but how do you let go? How do you how do you not allow yourself to personally become bogged down with the weight of what's going on with them?
Is it easy to say I don't? That's once again, that's their secret. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I agree. I
I'm
agree.
trying to
But okay,
understand,
so
El. It's
I
not
will give you
mine.
a scenario. I will give you a scenario. We had some friends who were going through a divorce. The husband was confiding in my husband, and the wife was my best friend. And in our household, there was contention because of what was going on with them. Because I had her information, he had his information, and it began to become a conflict between us. At some point, I had to say to him, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. That is their business. We are not going to get involved. But for whatever reason, it consumed his mind. He could not get past it. So he carried it and carried it and carried it. And it was too much for me because it started to impact my life. How do we rid ourselves of situations like that? How do we let go? And at what point?
Okay. Question. Was you okay? So I mean, going back into the story, what do you mean it bogged him down? Did it bog him down because he couldn't share it with you, or did it bog him down because he knew what the husband was doing?
He both. It was both. It was that it was just he couldn't it was a problem for him to hold it. He could not hold it. And some people can't hold stuff. How do they let it go? For those who know how to let it go, like you guys are like, it's not my business. I get it. Everybody is not that strong. Everybody does not have that tenacity. Everybody can't compartmentalize. Some people, they allow their brain to look like my closet because they're holding on to other people's secrets. What advice? How do they navigate without sharing? Without how do they rid themselves?
I mean, really, I mean, you can write it in a journal, of course. That is always good. That's a good way to relieve. Um, One thing that I've done before too, when lighting, write it down and then light it in a
Burn it.
fireplace and burn it, and it's done.
Okay.
And then, or even burning things outside, it's done because there is nothing really and truly that you could, it wasn't anything that he could have fixed in the situation. I get listening to the person, but I mean, if you're going to try to be like, if, well, you only give advice when people ask, right? So if the person never asks for that advice, then it's almost like, dang, okay, I am just listening. You know, that's all you can do. And really and truly, that's in you. At that point, you do have to put boundaries on that person. You know what? I don't think I can listen to this anymore. It kind of it's affecting me and my person. It's affecting me. You know, so you have to take a personal stance on that with that person. So setting boundaries is a good way also to where you just have to know who you are. I mean, within listening to that kind of stuff too. So everybody is different. It's not a real all tell situation, but I mean, I'll tell
Yep.
one
Not a
fix, one fix for
a one
everybody, but we
size
can
fits
give a
all.
list.
Yes, absolutely. And it gets heavy sometimes. And it ain't even your lot. You like, this ain't even my stuff. Why is this going on? Sorry, you guys. But yeah, why is this going on? It's not even my stuff to carry. Hey, Boozy J. Thanks for joining. You can unmute yourself whenever if you want to comment. Thank you for
Look,
joining.
I was gonna say you got into it. You had to go off camera for a minute.
No, no. So my brother was texting me to tell me that food is here. So I was like, okay, good stuff. Yes. But no, I think so often, and there is not a one size fits all. And I think we need to know that it's okay to let other people's stuff go. We don't have to carry it if it gets too heavy. Ways that we can eliminate it once we have taken it on, and how to do that. And that's what this conversation is about. How long? How long? How do you? What does it look like? Right? So thank you guys for your input and your thoughts. Boosie J, you got something you want to say? You need me to unmute you? Guess you're muted for a minute. Julian or Andrea, any other insight you guys want to add or anything else you want to talk about or share?
Well, in the particular situation you just talked about, one thing we need to understand is by holding on to someone else's secret doesn't always make it relatable to you. A lot of people have a tendency to take other people's problems on, and in some cases start to see these in their lives when I don't think they really exist. Secrets have power, they do, once given to you. And as you use the word, maybe I'm able to compartmentalize better than others. But honestly and truly, I'm able to give you sympathy without totally taking on your problem, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Especially when it comes to, like you said, married couples, right? You get someone else's problem, and before you know it, you're looking at your mate sideways, like, hey, you were 15 minutes later than usual.
Something's going on. Yeah.
So if you're the type of person who is somebody that people hands their problems to, I think the biggest thing for me is I never actually see myself in their scenarios. While I'm able to sympathize, even offer empathy, I don't take the problem on.
I think that's a good point, Julian. So you said when people share, you don't put yourself in their scenario. You just listen, let it go in and out, and keep moving.
Yes, I mean, that's the thing. They brought their problems to you. Sometimes they want an answer, sometimes they just want a listening ear. It's oftentimes when we focus too much on other people's problems or scenarios or secrets that actually causes us to make them relatable to us. I don't focus. My daddy used to always say, have a saying, I heard and I didn't hear. What that means is he's able to listen to an entire conversation, but yet he knows absolutely nothing when you ask him. It's because their problem was given to me so that they could have a release. It doesn't mean that I take on the problem. I simply take on the secret. I was that listening ear. I mean, in your given scenario, especially for couples, you see another couple, especially one that's close to you, having problems. And instead of just sympathizing, you often empathize. And with that, you start to see yourself in this scenario. You start to question things around you. I, for one, believe people come in all different forms and facets. You never know who is capable of what. But that does not mean that I look at one person and wonder, could they be doing what the next one's doing? I think it's the beauty of people to me. The fact that each and every person can offer you a different scenario, a different view, or a different action. I refuse to spread them across the board. Therefore, my life never gets affected by what one particular player does.
I like that. Can I say something?
Absolutely.
So Mr. Make It Happen. I will say I don't think it's sympathy or empathy. I think when people start interjecting in their lives as to what somebody else is doing, they're comparing. There's a difference because sympathy meaning you feeling sorry for them and you want to kind of fix it. Empathy means you giving them some type of understanding. But when you start comparing, you're not doing both. You're not doing either one of those things. So that's why I would say just the way that that's worded, the way that that was worded, I would disagree with that. Saying that person becomes has empathy for them, because if you're giving me your listening ear and I'm trying to come to a place of understanding where you are, and then if you ask me advice and I'm gonna try to understand, and then I can be honest and say I really don't understand, and then so that's you're that will be more empathy for me. But when you're saying, oh, that person is doing this and I need to be doing that, you're comparing. And when people do that, that's where we have that jealousy piece, and that brings on a totally different type of emotion, or a totally even total different reactions or responses that people will give to others. So I would just truly say that when people need to listen to somebody, or if somebody is giving you their secret, it's neither for us to judge it, because that's another, you give your opinion and you judge it, and then that may be not even something that they want to hear. They just need you. They may say, you know what, can you just listen? And that right there tells you exactly what they need for the other person to do. And so that's where we just have to sometimes just, and I'm guilty of it myself, of everything that I said: sympathy, empathy, comparing, all of the emotions, all of the above. I've done it. And it's like over time I'm learning more how to sit back and just listen. And that's the hardest piece for me, and just admitting that sometimes that, oh, they didn't want my advice, let me just listen, because they may hear themselves talk and see that this is their secret, and they got to figure out what to do with it. It was just for me to listen to it, and that's it.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. And people do sometimes just need to talk to hear themselves with somebody else there, and they will figure it out on their own. Yep. Boozy J, go ahead. William. Mr. Make It Happen. I'm sorry.
I think at this big age, which is one of my favorite little sayings, we've realized the power of secrets. Now, the weight of them, I can say personally, I don't think I experience too often, but I do understand the destructive power of, once you create one, why you must hold on to it. Like I said, in the given scenario I was speaking about earlier, if you've held on to a secret for so long that people have accepted the way life is, and then for you to feel like, oh my God, this is too heavy for me, so now I need to I consider that way too selfish. You created this burden, and this is only for personal secrets. You created this burden. No matter how you look at it, it's your weight to bear. True, you may not have thought it was a big thing when you created that burden, but there's one thing about burdens, they're just like weights. As the years go on, they get heavier. You don't get to give up if you created this scenario. I don't think that's a thing.
What if you created the scenario when you weren't old enough to create the scenario? I mean, you weren't old enough to be holding something that heavy. And as you get older, you decide, you know what, this is too heavy. I've been carrying this for a long time.
Now, in relation to someone else creating or putting you in a situation where you had to create a secret, to protect yourself at the time, that's a whole different scenario.
Okay.
With that one, we're looking differently. I mean, with that one, the only reason it remained a secret was, for most parts, our own personal ego. And ego is not a bad thing, but it also can be. If at the time you needed to protect yourself with a secret that you were forced upon, then by all means, as you grow, it's your chance to decide in life if you need to let it go.
Okay.
But if it's one you created yourself, therein lies the power. If you created this scenario, consider it your burden to bear. If it was forced upon you, you owe no loyalty to those who created that burden. But the ones you create yourself, you are totally responsible for.
I'm sorry, I'm going off the cuff. And Andrea, I know you're on, but I am reading. So they sent me some new forms to sign for my daughter for health screening. One of them is for them to provide mental health services at school. What is that about? I'm sorry.
Miss Carol?
Yes. I am asking you an educational question. So they have added a form to the school for your child to receive mental health counseling at school.
Oh, because no students can talk to counselors without the parents' permission. Everything is on parents' choice.
But
So
if you
do they feel like your daughter needs counseling services? Maybe she's gone to the counselor for something, but they can't talk to her without your support.
so the consent form, it says parent consent for mental health related services.
Yeah, that's right. Your child can, whether it could be something. If it's for a schedule, that's different. But that's what I'm saying. All schools districts now have to send a consent form home. It's the parent's choice as to whether you want your child to go to the counselor. So let's say your daughter is maybe someone passes, because I hate to say that, but maybe she lost a cat and she's grieving over her cat and she wants to go talk to the counselor. The counselor will not talk to her about grief if you have not signed that form.
Okay. Okay.
So it's things like that. I like the fact that Texas is a parent choice. You know, the parents have the right to consent, but it's like we need your permission to talk to your child. We need to help. Your child needs help to deal with things. We need your permission because you may not want to. Y'all may go to outside counseling. So therefore, you know, if you tell the school no and they go to outside counseling, then that support at school is not going to be given. It sounds kind of bad at the same time too, but
Because I'm like,
you know,
I don't ever remember going to counseling when I was in school. Did you? I remember.
no, I went to talk to my counselor about my schedule.
Yeah,
Can you
but
give me some resources?
is that the kind of counseling that they talking about? Or I mean, that's
But what grade level?
she's
What grade
only in the
level?
third grade.
But still, now, like with the counselors and but even like social emotional learning, that curriculum, we can't do the curriculum without parents' permission.
So like, what is it called? Resource or is that what you mean when you say
No, that's special education. That's totally different.
okay?
Resource or 504 or IEPs, individual educational plans, all of those things fall under the special education umbrella.
Okay. Well, I don't know what
But
that entails.
but if your child is needing like really and truly like basically like how to cope with life. I mean, these kids have tantrums and they don't know how to express their emotions. So
Thank God I'm a grandparent.
I'm like,
but things like
I
that.
chose the wrong time to be a parent again. I'm just saying. I'm like, good Lord, I don't remember all of this when other kids were little. But okay.
No, we didn't have all that. You know, our counselors will talk to us and principals will talk to us and everything. But it I the part of me that likes it is because it's a partnership. Can I talk to your baby or not? And if I am gonna talk to your baby, I'm gonna call you and let you know anyway.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting because her teacher emailed me and was like, "Hey, can you sign these forms?" And I'm like, "What forms?" So
Yes, even the all the house bills that they've passed through legislature through Texas. You just we're learning them, and then we're learning them and educating our community. Education, with the parents, y'all are part of the community. So,
well, that's
but
why I
this is
thought
why
I'd ask with you being on the line since I know that you were in education. I'm like, let me ask about this because I'm like,
I had to step away for a second, but I appreciate it. I was
yes.
like, hold on, look, I went to sleep this time.
Hey, Boozy J,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm on my way to work, so I'm
Oh,
just
okay. I figured
listening in. I
joining
had to get the
in.
gist of everything that you guys are talking about. So, Texas, Texas is stripping away a lot of our blackness. Um, and I just want to know, as you was discussing about your daughter, and the teacher coming on doing that, I'm just trying to figure out like how y'all kids gonna be able to know their history other than you telling them.
At home. Are they stripping the
And
textbooks too, Andrea? I'm
oh
sorry.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
And are
Andrea
they
is
what?
in
yeah.
education. Andrea is. Are you an assistant principal or are you the principal?
Assistant principal.
Okay, so she's in education here in Texas, so she knows the truth
Okay,
versus what's in the media.
yeah. So have they stripped the
Go ahead.
African American books from? I know they did it because you know I get it from good sources. Good sources that they taking all our history away. So what do you see? What do you see? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm on my way to work. What do you see on your end in Texas?
You know what? I'm in lower education, and so far
And when you say
I
lower,
haven't
what do
seen
you
this.
mean?
I less than second grade.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so I have primary grades. I have not seen it taken away, and it has been to the discretion of teachers. That's the first thing where it starts. So I will always tell every parent, if you want your child to know Black history,
Teach them at home.
start it at home, because the true history of our country and the true history of how other countries have started and international history, you will limit yourself if you're dependent on public education to do it for you. So it starts at home. It starts
And
for Go ahead.
I would say that in my time, that is so correct because even though I went to a black elementary school, now it was everything. Black elementary. I went to Martin Luther King School in Richmond, California, and that's all we learned. We learned black history. But then you move on to junior high, which is, upper scale, all white, predominantly all white, but you gotta really good presence of blackness, right? So they not teaching you all of that in junior high, and then you get to even in high school, predominantly all black. You know, you may have some teachers that can, help you to learn some things. Outside of that, they not teaching you that. You have to take a African American, subject if it's available, right? But now it's like, okay, we're gonna strip you guys of books, of even in the HBCs, they going through some stuff. It's just crazy how this world, how they are doing our black people to this day.
Well, Boosie J, I offer this one. They never taught our history. I learned more black history actually at my church from my family members and with my own personal discovery than anybody was willing to touch in school.
That's
I mean,
right.
let's
That's
just be
right.
honest for us Generation X kids. There was no
Yeah.
black history other than the minor talkings about Dr. King, maybe a little bit of Malcolm X if they could keep him light. Things
Yeah.
have not changed. They're just
No,
putting
it's
them on
just a
paper
different
now for
world.
this generation that believe that things were equal. That's the only thing they're doing. They're literally putting out paperwork now to try to make the other side feel confident. It's always been that way. I can't understand why black people say like they're banning this, they're banning that. It's never been there.
I agree.
Well, that's true, but for the spectrum of the world, because now you can't go up in there, like even in a black school, it's banned. So, like I said, I was coming up in a black school, so the black school that I went up into, they can't teach that no more. So that's why I'm saying now they're banning it on every level of it, because they were teaching it when I was coming up, only because it was a black school. But if you teach that now, you may go to jail.
But I mean, we've always had to do things that were far above and beyond. Me, I didn't go to an all black school. I went to an integrated school with black college professor level teachers who were relegated to being high school teachers because of
Yeah, I
integration.
went to both.
What these teachers taught and chose to teach me outside of what the regular curriculum was always a threat to their career. It was not something, the world has not changed. What they're doing, the only thing they've changed is the rhetoric. Now it's, oh my God, we're banning this. It was always banned. We just didn't say it. The same teachers that say now it's banned would literally be ostracized if they knew what they were teaching me.
Yeah.
Same narrative. And that's when it comes to teaching our own kids and everything. I hate it when people say that the world is changing. The world is not changing. The world has always been this way. It's just that they've never stated it to you.
Well, it's a different world as far as our youth, the ones that don't know this world. That's what I'm concerned about. Like, I got a nephew, he's 12 years old. He don't know about none of this stuff. He's sheltered, even though he has adversities with his own family, maybe a little bit, some here and some there, but to know, because we don't have the pillars like we used to, the community that helped us to, raised us up and helped us to understand this and that. These kids don't have that community no more.
And see, that's what's different.
Families is
people.
Yeah, that's what's different. Families is, feuding against each other. you can't get together no more because somebody is feuding with that person or that person. It goes deep, and this is something
But
that they want us to be like aggressive amongst each other. Even in my family, my brother, I can't stand his ass, right?
I mean, but if
But we
we
grew up
know
together.
how it was when we grew up, aren't we
Yeah,
responsible now for implementing those things?
of course. So I tell him a lot about his history, and I tell him, this is my name.
We lost you. I think we lost you.
With that, I'll go back to our we have our
Him to
families, but
come alone with
okay.
his wound.
We have our families that we can tell them, but we got to show them too. I'm gonna tell you, my family, every time we go on a family trip, we always try to find like Black history spots. And we went to Baltimore, Maryland. We went to Washington D.C. We went to Baltimore, Maryland because my cousin was up there and we went to visit her. But we wound up finding the most unique museum, and trust me, and I found it, y'all. And my family was like, where are we going? We walked down like to the basement of a church. But when I tell you, they had Imhotep, they had like you walking through a boat, like actually being in slavery. We also have to get out of the community where we lived, and we have to travel to other cities to see what was the history. There are so many maps where it shows histories of Black cities that are now buried underwater, and we have to
Yep,
expose not just these maps, and this is taught by Black historians, Black educators,
that's
as
right.
well as white educators.
We're good,
So
yeah.
nobody has
Wait
limit
for
or
me.
not just not doing it. It is just a matter of getting exposed. I love the fact that we have the power of social media, TikTok. There are so many
That's right.
sides. You can type in Black history, and there are so many sides that exposes. Our kids are so instantaneously. And that where we had to go to Encyclopedia Britannica
Critica, yeah.
or the World
That's
Book.
right. You best believe it.
And so therefore,
Hmm.
but now the fact that they have it right there, YouTube, it's just so many other resources that I can't give it an excuse anymore. I don't care what politicians decide they want to eliminate to educate. What am I going to do as a person to, if I have to reach one and that person reaches another and that person reaches another and that person reaches another? That's why we have to look at it. We can't think of the negative parts of it. We have to look at the parts where we are blessed to say our mouths are still, as if I'm still alive, then I can at least share it with somebody in the hopes that they're going to share it with somebody else. I can't say that I didn't do my part if I didn't.
That's right. And so, I'm gonna say good night. I'm coming to my up in these hills, and I just want to say I'm about to lose connection, but love you.
Love you
All
too.
right, you don't want to go to that job?
And
Stay online.
bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Gotta go to work.
Good night. Make that money.
Night night. You best believe it.
So y'all, I've cleaned my whole closet during our live. Yay!
All right, now that's what I
Gotta
call doing
straighten up
something.
the hangers. So okay. Anything else? Andrea, thank you for being our educational expert online. Boozy J, her mother was also in education. She worked at the junior college where we grew up, and we all went to the junior college where we grew up. So her mother was our resource when she was alive.
Oh, that's cool.
She was a go ask Miss Patterson for everything. You asked her about everything, where to go for everything. So yeah. Yes. So yeah. So thank you guys. I'm gonna cut it short tonight. We have had our conversation about secrets and holding other people's secrets and when do you let them go and how to let them go. Journaling, burning them, Not taking them personal when people share with you, just letting it go in and come out. When it's your own secrets that you're holding on to, figuring out a way to either go to counseling, forgiveness, whatever it is, but let it go. If it's heavy on you, let it go. We don't need to
And
keep
cleaning out your closet.
down. Yes, and clean out your closet so your mind is not cluttered like the closet. Yeah, and I need to give some stuff away. I did a clean a year ago. I need to get back in here and clean again and stuffed. So anyway, but thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you for always joining in on whatever conversation I'm having. Andrea, Mr. Make It Happen, I appreciate you guys. Miss Exterminator, Boozy J, thanks. And you guys have a great night.
Been a pleasure. You have a good night.
Good
You
night.
too. Thank you.